everybody. Cheers to Friday afternoon. Woohoo! It's bold, badass business owners, and I know some of you are expecting a different guest, and you're wondering, who is this person? Well, I am super excited that we have Talon McTavish, who is a tech knowledge booster expert, and he is going to talk about the most interesting topic. He's filling in just spur of the moment because this guy is smart. He comes absolutely raved about by different people who I know who are movers and shakers. And he is going to talk about how social media, as we know it, is going to be dead in the next couple of years. So, Talon, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. It's good to be here. Dr. Barnsley, we met just recently, and I was really impressed with everything you had to say, and I'm glad that you reached out to me so we can talk about this very controversial topic. People are going, wait, I just caught up. I just got caught up with social media and how to use it right. And now I'm running around telling everybody like Nostradamus that it is going to die in the next year and a half to 2 years.
I love that. You need like a machete that you can wield while we talk, this is the thing. And I really admire people in technology. I love technology. I love what it can do, but I'm not interested in the how, the process. That's not my forte. But what I love is that it's always changing. And so, it's great to have you here giving us this information because everybody watching is going to have a forecast. I mean, this is like astrology, you all, for social media, but you're going to have a forecast that's going to help you be prepared instead of defunct, right? We don't want you to be defunct.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's the main reason why we do that. When we teach somebody how to drive a car, we don't start by popping the hood and explaining all the parts to the engine to the new driver. We basically tell them that this is going to get you from point A to point B, and this is how it's going to help you. And this is how to do it safely and right, and that's what I do basically as a guru of all things next level technology. I'm not concerned with whether you know how it all works. I'm going to tell you how it's going to help you and give you an overview of what it all means and why you need to be aware of it and use it. And so what we're seeing is we are back in 1994-95 again with when back then people were hearing about the internet. They didn't really know what it was. They thought email was crazy. You mean I can receive mail on my computer? That doesn't even make sense. But now we do it as second nature, and we're there again to where people are hearing terms like Web3, AI, NFTs, blockchain, all of that, and they might not know what it all means or where it's all going. And that's where I come in to basically just give you the overview and the basic knowledge to be able to converse on things like that. And primarily, I want to focus today on social media and what's going to change within the next couple of years, because the way social media is today is the reason why the internet is changing.
Interesting. So the way social media is today is the reason why the internet is changing. All right, tell us what you mean by that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's back up and talk about Web 1, for instance. In 1994-95, when the internet started coming around, we basically had static web pages. It was just basically informational brochures. And that was what we call Web 1. Web 2 came about when e-commerce and social media started happening. People started conversing and engaging together and building, more interactivity around companies and ideas and groups and things like that, and started connecting one to another on a social level. And what's happened is those social media companies have grown into these big, huge conglomerate things that people, I think take for granted a lot of times, and they own the information that you give them. They own the content that you post. The big companies, you're not building your own community there on Facebook, even though you may think you are. You're building Mark Zuckerberg's community.
All right, everybody. I'm pausing you, Talon, because this is so important. So you're fucked, basically, if Facebook excuse my French, y'all, but I mean, there's no nice way to put this. Let's say you've built a community, you've got thousands of people in there, you have your Facebook public page and they're in there and engaging, but something you do pisses Facebook off and you get blacklisted, right? And you get shut down.
Right.
What do you do? What do you do if you have not brought those people into your owned database? Okay, so what I mean by that is when you start a Facebook community, you can put questions in there. So one of my questions is, would you like my complimentary ebook, How to Overcome Overwhelm in 7 Easy Steps? Just list your email here. And then I have my VA go in and add every single one of them. So they get that wonderful ebook valued at $47. They get it free. And then they're in my database. And so if I ever get shut down by Facebook and, Talon, I've been thrown out of a lot nicer places.
Yeah, that's very true for all of us. Right?
Then I'm not effed, basically. So first point for those of you watching, as we talk about how social media is going to change in the next 2 years, and how we know it now is going to be completely different in 2 years. And Talon's going to tell us what to do about this. Make sure that you capture, hopefully, the cell phones and the emails of your target audience, and keep that in your own database and not just on a platform. Don't just assume you're going to be on that platform forever. I know somebody who got banned from LinkedIn this very week.
Yeah, that's right. And that is certainly step one, is to make sure that you have the information for your community. That's common sense, right? We need to be building those databases of contact information. There's all kinds of basic ways you can do that with MailChimp or something similar to building those databases out. But to take things a step further and to talk about where things are going, this new term, Web3, is getting away from the Web 2 solutions of company-owned communities, so basically the Facebooks, the Twitters, the LinkedIns, and all that, even though, some of them are really good, some of them aren't. But we're moving into an era where people are aware of the problem that they do not own their communities. They do not own their content when they've posted it to Facebook, basically surrenders rights legally to Facebook. And that's a problem, right? So in order to solve that problem, Web3 has been designed. This is part of what Web3 is. It's not all of Web3, but part of the thing is solving this problem of ownership. So in the very near future, because we are already seeing this transition, we're seeing that today or yesterday, you were basically your email address. That was your identity. In Web 2, the email address was the key to everything. And it really isn't all that secure, because if somebody has your email address and a few basic pieces of information, they can hack anything they want. With Web 3, we're moving toward your identity being a digital wallet address. So a digital wallet is something that you're going to have in the future if you don't have one already. MetaMask is a good one. I can throw out a few other names. MetaMask, Solana has a Phantom wallet. Temple they're all in different blockchains, and you need a different wallet for different blockchains.
Let me stop you for a second, okay? Because some people are going to be like, what's he talking about? But your identity needs to be a digital wallet address. And what did you say is one that you recommend?
Yeah, everybody's going to need some kind of wallet, and I would recommend starting with the Ethereum blockchain wallets, because Ethereum is kind of the one that's being used most prevalently in Web3 right now.
What's their website address?
MetaMask.io is where you're going to get the wallet. So it's MetaMask.io is where to get the wallet, and you're gonna. And this is part of. I actually teach a course on this, so I know this is going to be this starts to get a little techie, and it don't let that scare you. I can walk you through how to do this. For nothing. I'll help you if you need help. Just send me a message. Connect with me or whatever.
Okay, so I want to pause you for a second. I love this. All right, I had no idea about this, and I read widely, right? So we have to have a digital wallet address, and you recommend metamask.io.com to do this.
No, not .com. .io.
.com?
Yeah, not
.com.
Okay. Metamask.io.
All right, let me make sure. Okay. Well, glad that's why I want to get it on there. Okay.
.coms are websites that are attached to these Web 2 companies.
Gotcha.
The big company, .ios and other things are happening. You know.
Aha. Did everybody hear that? Woohoo. Now we know what IO is when we see it out there. So we want to look for that. MetaMask.io.com is for Web 2.0, right? Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Great.
yeah.
Got it. So I just had somebody recently, Jor-El Mitchell, telling who has this really cool app called NextSpot. He was on here. He's in London. He's designed this app. You can basically have your own QR code and e-portfolio. You can curate what you send to customers. You can use it in networking. It's all free. What do you
Hmm.
think of this? Pretty amazing.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. So
Well,
yeah.
let me ask you this.
Sure.
How does that compare to a digital wallet?
Well, a digital wallet is something a little different because your
Mhm.
wallet address is there so that you can send and receive digital funds,
Mhm.
cryptocurrencies,
Okay.
and also digital tokens, which are different from currencies. Tokens are actually objects that are stored on the blockchain. If you don't know what blockchain is, it's again another topic for in my course. What is the blockchain? And real
Mhm.
simply, the blockchain is a digital ledger, like an accounting, debits and credits. It's a transactional record of everything that happens with any given wallet, um, or the collection of wallets that make up the blockchain. And there's hundreds of thousands of copies of this single blockchain so that it self verifies itself. So there's no chance of fraud, basically.
I think I'm using Trust Wallet. I think that's the
Yeah,
one.
that's a
Yeah,
digital wallet. Yep.
I'm using that one actually. So I wasn't sure what you meant by this, but yeah, now I get it. I'm with you. Yeah, that's a good one. And we're not really talking about this, but we should. The United States is going to digital currency, and
Yeah, there's a whole lot of conversation around what's going to happen in the next couple of years with the dollar and whether or not it's even going to be a dominant currency at all. There's a lot of talk about Saudi Arabia pulling out of using the dollar to back oil and things like that. And if that happens, it's going to be the wild, wild west as far as what's going to fill the void on
yeah.
what currency are we going to be using? Who knows?
And the other thing is centralization versus decentralization. This is
Yes.
huge, you all. Okay,
Yeah.
so Talon, I have, I don't have all the terminology you have to explain this, but let me just say, and then you make it sound really good. Y'all, when it's centralized, the government's going to be able to see every single thing you spend money on, everything. So if they don't like the fact that you spend money on Prosecco, as I am wont to do, I like my Prosecco, or maybe I spend too much on Prosecco, or they don't like the fact that you're calling the 1-900 poledancing.com, whatever. If they don't like what you're doing, or maybe you have the wrong views that the people in power don't like, then guess what could happen to you?
Yeah, and I don't want to get off on a deep end where I start sounding like I should be wearing a tinfoil hat because the conspiracy theories are one thing, but there's practical uses for this stuff as well, right?
Yes,
Yes, everything that you said is I believe true, right? I mean, yes, with centralization comes, other eyes looking at what you have, but more importantly, it takes the control out of your hand as the users, right? For whatever reason. Not
right.
doesn't necessarily have to be something nefarious or something that you're hiding, but it's your right to maintain your privacy and the
Exactly.
ownership over your creation, whatever that creation
The
is.
ownership, and let's think about it like mirrors that aren't really mirrors at Airbnbs, right?
Right.
Somebody is watching, could be watching you. There could be
Sure.
surveillance of you. And you all, I'm not going to put on a tinfoil hat either, Talon. Though I love the Wizard of Oz, I'm not going to put on my tin hat. Actually, I think we should have had those at the beginning. We should have put on little tinfoil hats. That would have looked pretty cool. Um, I'm not gonna put on my freaking lame turban and say to you all, "Oh my God, this is the end of the world." Do you
Yeah.
remember
No.
when we had all that Y2K crap that people talked about? So the reality is some of the most savvy financial advisors I follow are talking about this,
Hmm.
and they have some concerns.
Sure.
Now, definitely there will be some ways that this may facilitate more communication, kind of like the euro has in Europe, if you will. It may make things a little more uniform in what we use for currency, but the other part of it is something that we need to watch and be very careful of. And I sadly think that there are countries where this has been a step towards the type of government that we may not want here in the United States. That's all I'm going to say. So anyway, but let me turn it over to you, Talon, and again, and just say, so I know you think there are benefits. What do you see as the pros and cons of this centralized versus decentralized wallet? And by the way, I think I chose Trust Wallet because it was decentralized.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them out there. Any proprietary wallet is going to be decentralized, and it's the concept of decentralization is a key tenet of Web3, along with tokenized transactions, and along with, and here's to get back to our topic, the big one to me is more relational selling rather than transactional selling. So by that, I mean building a community on a platform that is not owned by one of these companies. It's owned by you, right? So you control and run your own community, and you're drawing your own people to yourself to be a part of your community, and you're nurturing that community to build up trust in yourself, respect for your knowledge, and it basically highlights you as the rock star. You're the one that's in control. You're the shepherd of your sheep. You're the one that owns the content. You maintain that content, and it's on you. It's on your shoulders to connect with other users and foster a good relationship there to generate your own sales. And I think that's huge.
This is huge because transactional selling, you all, is dead.
It is dead.
Pretty dead. And if you are doing transactional selling, and what we mean by that is that you're looking at just the transaction as the sales process. Like I buy something from you, and that's the sale. Instead of the entire process of building a relationship with someone. And I always say when I'm talking with my mastermind coaching clients about this, Talon, I always say, look, you all, the first moment you meet someone is when the enrollment, I don't like the word sales, the enrollment process begins. Because first you are enrolling somebody in who you are in the planet, who you are and what you stand for. What do you stand for? And I'm so tired of it. Well, this is why we have a mutual friend, Sajad, right? And this is why I love Sajad, because you always know what Sajad stands for. He doesn't pussyfoot around.
There's no question.
There is no question. And it scares some people, but you always know what he stands for. And he's, and he likes to think he's a tough nut, but he's extremely kind. And when you know who that person stands for, then, and you admire them, then, and you trust them, that's the other aspect of it, then you could actually begin to develop that relationship that results in partnerships, in sales, in enrollment, in all sorts of things, all sorts of joint ventures.
Right.
But transactional selling's dead, you all. And I have to say this, Talon, and this will piss some people off, but I don't care. It's a male model, y'all. All right. It's like the one night stand of sales. Okay. It's the one. And now I'm not saying
wham bam, thank you, ma'am. That's
exactly. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. And
that's you're exactly right about that.
Do that too, y'all. But it's the one night stand, and what we want is relational enrollments, relational sales, which means we're there for the long haul.
That's right.
We're there for the long haul. We're not running. We're not going to meet with somebody and use them one time, and guess what? They do feel used.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's where buyer's remorse comes in, right?
Yeah.
Because you know, it's easy to get sold when somebody is magnetic in personality and they're there and then they're gone, and then you are left feeling empty and remorseful. So yes, that's why.
For a second, Talon, I want to ask about your process with your clients, because I'll tell you, I've recently had some people who are so afraid to enroll with me, and I understand why. Because it's a culture of distrust. Because they have had people who are magnetic, who've taken their money and have overpromised and haven't delivered shit.
That's right.
So now they're afraid, and they're blaming themselves for being duped, right, by this person. And so I just really assure them, look, you aren't going to be able to get rid of me. Like, I'm texting with you probably 10 times a day. I've got at least 25 texts from my people today. and you're going to hear from me. Now, I'm going to let you off the hook on Saturday or Sunday. The rest of the week, you're going to be hearing from me. You're probably going to hear from me on Saturday or Sunday too, actually. But I'm not going to let you fall through the cracks. And that level of commitment is sorely lacking in what's out there online. I just don't see it. I see people taking money, making huge promises, and then they don't deliver. They maybe deliver to 3%. That's one of the averages, 3% in online courses. 3% of people get the results. And that's just abhorrent. There's no excuse for that. So to you and your process, tell us how you work with people so you don't make them feel, for example, stupid, that they don't know all this stuff. And you just stay there with them and help them along.
Absolutely. So that's you're talking about a lot in a short amount of time there, because you brought up some really, really great points. And to go back to the decentralized versus centralized, this is one of the I don't know if I would say downsides necessarily, but it's one of the perceived downsides about being decentralized with everything rather than centralized, right? Because when there's the reason we centralize things is because we feel like there needs to be a trusted third party involved in transactions. That's the motive for having centralization. But the reality is that perception is false, because just because Facebook moderated a conversation doesn't mean shit. We think that it does. Just because a government official has a badge, that doesn't mean that they are knowledgeable about the drugs that are going into our food supply.
Heck yeah.
And that's the whole
kickback.
Yeah, that's what that is an open door for corruption, right? When this third party has everyone convinced that they have a right to moderate whatever transaction comes about. Well, what it does is that dupes everyone into thinking that they're safe when they're not. They're just more liable to be tricked by that one third party person.
It's like the Pied Piper. You remember that story of the Pied Piper?
Yes, you're exactly right.
Takes everybody right down into the river. Let's go down to the river. We're going to trust that person. We're going to trust that entity or organization. And just because they are that third party, as you say, Talon, does not mean that that they can be trusted.
Right. And so the decentralization brings about a perceived, oh God, there's nobody in charge. There's no moderator to this transaction. Well, you're right. It's on you. It always has been on you to make sure that you're safe. And there are a lot of key practices that I teach to make sure that you stay safe. You don't connect your wallet to things you don't know what you're connecting to. You don't give out people the seed phrase key to your wallet. There's a reason those are secure seed phrases.
Colin, do you mean when they called me and told me that my bank account had been hacked and they needed my social and my blood type and my firstborn's birthday? I wasn't real?
No. So that's exactly right. And it is actually simpler with these processes now, because you really, as your identity is your wallet in Web3, it's not your social security number. It's not your email address. It's not your mother's maiden name. It's your wallet. And if you have your wallet installed, and the only way you're going to install it is with that seed phrase key, as long as you keep that safe, then you are safe, as long as you don't go connecting to
the seed phrase.
The seed phrase, SEED, is what you're given a seed key phrase every time you create a new wallet. That seed phrase needs to be written down, and it needs to be kept secure. Put it in a safe. Put it somewhere, very secure. Don't give it out to anyone, even if somebody says that you can trust them and they need it for verification. You don't need anything like that for verification, except for the wallet.
In your phone. Keep it elsewhere in a safe or safe deposit box or somewhere. So let me ask you this: Google Authenticator. Good, bad.
That's a Web 2. I got nothing to do with it. That's Web 2. Like, Google owns that shit. I don't want anything to do with Google. Google's a big company.
The reason the reason I'm asking you that is some people use Google Authenticator and feel safer, right?
It's and just like we talked about before, that's a centralized app. They require you to do that. I think it's safer than not having it to use Google without it, I suppose. And so yes, it's safer to use that than not to use it if you're using something that needs what they call two-factor authentication. Right?
All right, that was my next question. You read
Yeah,
my mind. I was going to be like, yeah, okay, two-factor authentication. I mean,
sure.
we need to use, I mean, those, as you say, are Web 2, right?
Yeah.
But still, we're still in Web 2 on the cusp of Web
hmm
3, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and as we start seeing these websites come about that are called DApps, which are
Mhm,
digital applications, and these
mhm.
websites where and you'll know it is a DApp if you see a little connect wallet button at the top right. If you go to like OpenSea.io, for instance, that's the marketplace. It's basically Amazon for
Mhm.
Web3. And if you go there, you'll see a little button at the top that says Connect Wallet, and anytime you connect your wallet to that, that's uh, that's a Web3 website. So
All right, I'm putting, be careful what you connect your wallet to.
yes, and it's just like, I mean, you wouldn't go around. Well, maybe
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. I was gonna. It's like
I'm
when
going
you.
to send you my credit card when we get off.
Yeah,
Let me just give you the number when we, oh, wait, maybe I should do it right now. Everybody ready? Get a pen.
yeah. You don't run around sleeping with 100 people a month and then scratch your head and wonder why you have a disease. And that's basically what you're doing when you plug your wallet into dirty places that you
Wait,
don't know
hold
where
on.
where you're
Oh,
plugging.
wait. This is a whole presentation right here. You don't go
It is.
around. All right, I'm pausing because this is
Yeah,
hilarious and it's true. You don't go around sleeping with 100 people every month and then wonder why you have a disease.
right.
Because you're putting yourself out there into dirty places,
Yeah.
and you're
So
going to
keep your
have
wallet out of dirty places.
you get to keep your wallet out of the dirt, y'all. Keep it out of
Yeah.
the scum. Don't be a slimy wallet slut.
Yeah. Exactly. So you asked me what I did differently, right,
Yes,
to
yes.
earn trust in this environment, and it's
Earn and
basically
sustain.
I
Earn and sustain. Tell
yeah.
them.
So I've got a community of 2,300 people. They would,
Yeah,
most of them have been around long enough they would vouch for me,
yeah,
uh, and that's the great thing about running your own community. I've gathered those people over time, and they've been
yep.
there, and I'm with those people every day. They know me, and I know them, and that's the great, wonderful thing about Web3, that it's focused on this community aspect of things. Is it takes the ability for a fan to interact with an artist or creator, and it allows for the creator and artist to more genuinely interact with their community. And
Mm.
I build those out on a couple of different platforms. I use Discord, which is a really it's a little clunkier than I would like, but there's a couple other slicker programs out there. But I think the robustness of Discord, as far as what you can do with it, is the best one for community building.
Discord. Okay, I've never
Mm-hmm.
even heard of that. I'm learning so much here in terms of some tools. I love tools, but I've never
Yeah,
heard of it. So
Discord is a platform that started in the gaming world. Actually, it was
mm,
designed primarily as a chat client for gamers to use while they're playing games.
mhm.
But that's been years ago now. I forget how many years old this program is, but it's evolved into something much more powerful. And the reason it's great is because it works great with digital wallets, like what we were talking about. You can tokenize different parts of your community. You can token gate it. So if a person, like if you, Dr. Barnsley, had one of my tokens in your wallet, and you connect your wallet to my Discord server, then my server knows, oh, she's got the token, and so we'll let her in to see, the members channel, or the deeper level, the layers. So that way you can have your funnel right there in your Discord, and it's all, you can award. It's almost like gamifying the
Wow.
the relationship, because you move these people from one, surface level relationships to deeper relationships, and you can token gate different layers of your community.
That's so interesting because on Facebook you can give stars to people, right?
Right. Yeah.
But this is so much deeper.
Yeah, and that's Facebook trying to catch up with this technology
Yeah,
without actually using the technology,
yeah,
because they
yeah.
don't they don't they don't want this stuff, because they know it's going to kill them.
Yes, they know. Well, they've had mm, something of a monopoly for
Mm-hmm.
most people in a
Yep.
certain demographic of like 35 to, I guess, 60 maybe.
Yeah.
They've had the monopoly, but now New stuff is evolving. That's something I'm really taking from what you're telling us, is that, there is way more that is going to be changing even in the next year. We're
Yeah.
going to see some enormous changes. And so we've got to nurture our communities. We've got to have communities that we are in contact with that are not just on platforms owned by someone else, so that if we got knocked off the platform or locked out for some reason, we couldn't get to our community. Can you imagine? You build this community and then you can't reach them.
Right.
So we've got to safeguard ourselves that way. And we've also got to have a digital wallet and safeguard that by
Mhm.
not putting our information out there,
Yeah.
and being careful where we connect and share that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And you may be thinking at this point, well, digital wallets, that sounds just too, that sounds like a pain, or it sounds like another pain point that I have to now, something else I have to do. The
Yeah.
reality is, I'm telling you about this because you may even already have a digital wallet or be involved in tokenized transactions and not even know it, because there are companies moving to this way of doing business, and you may not even realize it because they've done a good job of sort of transitioning without drawing attention to that. For one example comes to mind with the Stub, I think it's StubHub, or one of the other Ticketmaster. One of the concert tickets is a big use for digital tokens, and they have what you call well, it's a digital wallet that they have branded themselves. It's what do you call it? It's a wallet that they own. It's not a generic, anybody can download a wallet separate
Mhm.
from their app. It's built into the app. And so you
Interesting.
go to the StubHub or Ticketmaster and you get your concert ticket, and it actually moves the ticket digitally as a token into the wallet that's built into the app. And then when
Mhm.
you redeem that, then it actually takes it out of your wallet and gives it back to StubHub or wherever. And so they're using this technology and you don't even realize it. This is what's happening. So what we're seeing is now that this stuff is starting to be more familiar to people, it's coming out into the forefront of the everyday user, because again, it's decentralized. All of
Mhm.
us can now individually, as creators and business owners, we can use this technology very easily, and it's open source. It's easy to, I don't say it's easy
Uh-huh.
to do, but it's understandable anyway.
So you all open source in case there's some newbies, some new business owners, because on Bold Badass Business Owners, we want to inspire those of you who are just starting out and help those of you who have been in business for a long time to just continue kicking ass, right? Open source just means it's free, right? You can get it.
Proprietary
Proprietary.
wallet. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the proprietary wallets are now part of a lot of different apps that you don't even realize.
Now I see. Okay, so this is so interesting because like Venmo, Zelle, all of these are preparing us for this, because it used to be that, we didn't. I've used Venmo and Zelle more in my business than my merchant account.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
we made the claim at the beginning. The hook into this conversation was that social media will be dead within 2 years,
Yeah.
as we know it. And what I'm saying is these big companies are just not. They've gotten so big, they're just not able to move quick enough to adapt to the innovation
Mhm.
that's happening. And so
Interesting.
somebody, and we're not there yet. There will be an application or a website, or some developer will come up with something that utilizes all of Web3 technology and tenants and all of
Mm,
these ideas that are the Web3 is made up of, and they're going to topple Facebook. You said it earlier that they've had a monopoly for so long, and they've grown to be a behemoth size. And you
yep.
see, it's like a giant that's like a Goliath. He's wounded and he's like floundering around. I see it so clearly with Mark Zuckerberg trying to trademark the term meta. The reason that he did that is he's trying to basically stake claim in what we're calling the metaverse. And it
Mm,
has nothing to do with the metaverse. And you
yeah.
know, then you see articles coming out on LinkedIn and all over the place claiming the metaverse is dead. What? The metaverse hasn't even been born yet fully. It's like half out of the womb, and you're
All right.
trying to say it's
Explain
dead.
what you mean by the metaverse.
Yeah, the
Tell us what the
metaverse is
metaverse is. Break
it's
it down.
another
Break it down.
aspect of Web3. So,
Okay.
and it's another topic in my course that I teach. The metaverse is essentially all of the little kingdoms that individuals are setting up for themselves, the communities that we've created, like what we're saying, it's the interconnectedness of those computers and those communities. So, an example, Tim Shreve is a good friend of mine who he teaches on investing in virtual real estate. He
Mhm,
teaches on how to, which is becoming a big thing now.
mhm.
He teaches on different strategies that you can employ to invest in these things. And he has his own little 3D metaverse environment. And I have mine. I have a 3D virtual environment, and I actually
Wow.
build those out for people with where you can go in and run around in your little virtual 3D world. And it's a really cool thing
So I
because
was
people,
I was just having this
yeah.
image of everybody doing dances, you know?
Well, and that is true, to be honest. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's a bunch of nerds running around dancing
Oh
in their
my god, that
avatars.
just
So
makes me laugh, you know?
it's funny. It really is. But it's the way people are interacting. People are doing business this way. I actually conduct some of
That's
my team
cool.
meetings in our metaverse, and it's hilarious because we're all standing around with our avatars,
So you
watching a
have
video
and you
presentation.
create your own avatar. See, that is just
Yeah,
wow. Now that is just wild to me. All
it
right.
is.
This is really kind of blowing my mind because and I'm sure it's blowing your mind too, those of you who are watching, right? So you're gonna go in there, the closest I've probably gotten to that is having my own GIF, and doing my own. I have like a blue beret because I like
Yeah,
berets, and of course I have bright red lipstick and the little, I have my different things I like to do with my gift. But this is like a whole nother level.
it
This is
is. It absolutely is.
a little
But I mean,
strange
we
and,
could,
and
if I could,
wonderful too.
do I have the ability to share my screen? Because I could even
You
hop
know
in and
what?
show
There
you
is
what it
a way
looks
for
like
you
right
to
now.
do it somewhere, and
Is it
I think we
present?
can
Is my
flash
presenting? If I,
that.
if I
Yeah,
pull
I
it up
think
in
it is.
my,
Let's do that.
yeah.
Let's
So
do
while
that.
I'm talking, so yeah, I create these spaces for people, and it's a great way for creators who have any kind of video. If it's you talking on a podcast or
Hmm.
anything like that, and I'm going to give you an example of my own stuff. I'm an artist. I have been an artist for 15 years. It's the world that I come from. I do
Oh,
fine art,
cool.
photography, and stuff like that. So I have a virtual gallery that people can actually create an avatar and walk into the gallery where all of my art is on display. And so
Wow.
it makes for an experiential way for me to bring my art to a global audience. And that's a big difference from what I used to be able to do, which used to sell in real galleries
Yep.
regionally. And I might sell one or two pieces that way
Yep.
during a show. But
That's
now,
amazing. Okay, Talon, I'm just going. Okay, we got to shout out to Daniel Andrews for connecting you when my guest didn't show. I hope she's okay.
yeah,
I'm going
Daniel
to give
Andrews
her
is
the
awesome.
benefit of the doubt. And Daniel connected us. Do you know I do creative marketing for artists seminars? I have
Oh,
a
is that right?
special part. It is. And
Oh,
so
that's
like
cool.
I'm super excited to hear about this because I know there are 3D galleries that people can be in online that they can be part of, but having actually the capacity, and I always recommend having Zoom art parties and Zoom art openings where everybody BYOBs, bring your
Yeah.
own beverage, whatever you want. But this is extremely exciting. And the thing is, you all, while you're pulling that up, Talon, I just want to say to everybody who watches this, here's the thing. We know that it is far better in business to give people an experience of your art or your product or your service, to give people a sample. I mean, good Lord, look at Mrs. Fields. That's what she did. She gave people a sample. They were walking by the streets and wouldn't come into her store. She went out with her cookies, and that's how she got started. We give people a sample. We give people a sample. And so this is a way to let them have an experience, and an experience that appeals on all the senses, or to as many senses as possible, is going to be much more memorable than just you blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
talking blah, 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 or giving somebody a manual. I cannot do manuals, Talon. When I look at manuals, I just want to beat my head. I cannot. But if you walk me through something, I'm a kinesthetic learner, then I can do it. But
Exactly.
we need experiences, you all. And this is something that in your marketing, It should be experiential and it should be multi-sensory as much as possible. So I love that you're doing this where people can enter into this world. Okay, so now I'm thinking Supergirl. I watched that whole series and I'm like, that was so scary.
Are
Did
you
you
able to
watch
see
that?
what I'm sharing at the moment?
Not yet. Maybe I have to click on this. Do I need, I have to add it to the stream. Okay. Whoa, look at this.
Yeah, so this is my virtual art gallery. This is from my Small Tokens collection, which is a collection of art NFTs. And
Wow.
when you populate into the world, it'll ask you to create a little avatar that you can walk around in. You see mine kind of
Okay,
looks like me.
NFTs. What's an NFT? It's
Well,
not
that's
a
a whole different
UFO.
topic, but an NFT is a non-fungible token. So that's those digital tokens that I was talking about that can be traded on the blockchain. And these tokens in particular are works of art that are stored on the blockchain. Then it basically makes it a one of one, similar to like the Mona Lisa or something, some other unique piece of creation,
Wow.
right? So,
Okay, so wait, Talon, I have to stop you. Okay.
sure.
All right. I have to stop you. Okay. So these are computer generated.
Well, these are art pieces that are done that I've done with Photoshop and a
Okay.
few other programs together. It takes a long time to do, but yeah, these are digital files, if that's what you mean. They're not actually physical files. I can make physical prints, but
That's what I wanted to ask you.
these are all digital paintings that I've done.
They're all digital paintings.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's wild. I love that. Wow. I could see how this could be used in so many ways. Like I've had in my seminars, I've even had like tattoo artists. I mean, really
Mm-hmm.
great tattoo artists
Yeah.
at a level that we just don't. I'm not talking about like at the carnival, y'all. I'm not talking to, the people who are just, they are artists. And wow, that's pretty wild. And then you can take these and turn them into prints for people.
Yeah, but the primary focus is just owning the digital token itself, and there is an open marketplace for that. As a matter of fact, these are the portals. They look like little bubbles, and one of these bubbles actually takes you right to the page on OpenSea.io, which we mentioned earlier, which is the open marketplace for NFTs, these digital tokens, and
Okay,
you
I
can
have to ask
own.
a question. I
Mhm.
have to ask a question. Okay. If I were to show you around my office, I have so many pieces of art from artists I've met. All right. And
Mhm.
artists I've coached because, I love art. And so sometimes I'll barter with the starving ones and help them
Mhm.
prosper. So then they can fucking pay me. But here's the thing. I've got art everywhere in my house. I have like up here, I have drums and rattles. And then over here, I have Russian lithograph. And then back here, I have a painting by a folk artist in this area. And then it's just everywhere. And I love looking at it.
Yeah.
See, what happens? What happens? This may be such an elementary question, but I'm going to ask it. What happens if sometime we have blackouts and we don't have electricity?
Mhm. That's a
Like
great
what
question.
happens?
So, all
Your
right.
art
So
collection goes to shit. Where is it?
no, it's stored on the blockchain because the blockchain exists globally. It exists, even beyond that. I think, uh, there are copies of the blockchain that are in space now. So
Okay.
it exists in the cloud, and no, again, decentralization. Nobody owns the blockchain. It just exists, and you can't kill it. You can't stop it because there's way too many copies of it, and that's the point. So it's going to exist, whether you like it or not. Now, if you have your tokens that you own, if you own my artwork, like Daniel Andrews owns a few of my art pieces in digital form on in his digital wallet. The wallet is your access point to the blockchain. It's not actually stored in your wallet necessarily. Well, the token is, I guess, but the record of you owning it is on the blockchain, and so.
Okay.
And this again, we're getting into some of the secret sauce of what I'm teaching in my course because it starts to dive into some high level stuff. But there are types of wallets that you can actually disconnect from your computer and throw it in a safe like a thumb drive. So that's called a hard wallet. And the
Okay.
hard wallet, there's a brand called Ledger that a lot of people are using, and those that's the safest way to store digital information.
Okay, so I'm going to compare that to like gold or silver bars.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like the gold or silver bars that you just hang on to them and they just
Hmm.
appreciate and appreciate and value. Okay, I have to ask this. All right, so I have some pieces that are quite valuable too, and they come with a certificate of authenticity that is
Yes.
appraised. So what about that?
Yeah, but that you just gave me the prime reason for the art on the blockchain. I mean, that's why art and blockchain makes sense because the
Okay,
blockchain and the digital token is its authentication. There is only one copy, and that's the copy that says it's the copy on the blockchain. Like I can't,
wow.
right click and save a picture and then claim that I own it because there's a clear record that I don't.
I
You
love
know,
this, and it can be traced. So
right?
basically, it's the metaverse or the online equivalent of the one Picasso
Yeah,
or
the
the
Web
one
three
Mona
equivalent.
Lisa
Yeah.
or the one I'm looking right now at the Kiss. I don't own the one Kiss by Gustav Klimt. I wish I did. I love that painting.
Yeah.
But and I love it so much. In fact, it's on my cell phone. Yes, let me show you. Oh, it's on my cell phone. My
So
cell phone.
as an artist, I can create other copies of my work. You guys saw the tokens; those are actually the tokens in the gallery right there. I can create copies of those. If I do 30 copies of it or 100 copies of it, I
Mhm.
can actually set it up, set the digital token up like that, so that in the token description it says one of
One
100,
30,
one of 30.
3 of 30,
Yeah,
which
and it
is
affects the
value.
value. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's what happens with the great paintings. They may be turned into I've forgotten the word
Mhm.
for it, but you know what I'm talking about. And
Yeah.
it's a limited edition essentially.
Yeah.
Um, so I love this. Wow, this is wild. I am just okay. My mind is going. Okay, you want to see how my mind is going? Everybody, watch. Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah.
That's what's happening to my mind right
Yeah.
now. This is some serious, like, this makes Star Trek look like it is nothing.
And
This
it's happening. This technology is now about 2 years old, and
Wow.
we're already making the shift over to where we're on the
Wow.
cusp of mass adoption. It's not quite there yet, but there's a few key things that are happening very soon, and I mean like within the next 30 days or so.
Wow.
Two things. See where it's at now, but they were supposed to have come out with it already.
That's amazing.
And did I lose you?
Just for a second, but that's fine. Yeah, I think I get it. So there are things coming up in the next 30 days that are happening that are going to be affecting the art world. This is Talon, this is so interesting to me. Okay, now I have to ask a question. We have gotten into way beyond where social
Yeah,
media, the way we know it, is
we
going to
did.
be dead, but this is super interesting because those of us who love art, and for me, loving to work with artists and help them monetize their business as
Yeah.
part of the entrepreneurs I help get to 100K and beyond fast with fun. As that, I'm thinking, one of the reasons I love art and I paint and I make jewelry and I wire wrap and there are things that I love to do with my hands. I paint furniture and I mean, not like paint it just solid colors. I mean, make it artistic. So doing it with my hands is so important. So what about that? Do you think some of that is lost, Helen, when you get in
If
that
that was going to be
virtual
lost, it was
world?
lost years ago. Okay, because
Okay.
um, digital painting has been a thing now for a decade or more.
Yeah.
I don't know how long ago we started doing it.
Yeah.
Microsoft Paint when it came up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, if you're not comfortable with the digital world, you're not going to be more comfortable with this because you're not. It's there's still a place for physical form. And here's the cool thing. Now again, we're getting way beyond where we started,
That's
but
okay. We get, on bold, badass business owners, we just open up
right.
freaking
So
riveting discussions.
yes, I need to explain this brief concept real quick to lead into to answer your question. So, with the thing with NFTs, non fungible tokens, which means it's the one of one. That's what the word non fungible means. So, as opposed to fungible, which means it's interchangeable with anything, like $1 is equal to any other dollar. Those are fungible in the physical world. Non fungible is like the Mona Lisa, right? So the cool thing is, as an artist, for 15 years, I was selling in galleries. Well, I'll ask you, how many times did I make money off of the one painting that I did? one
One
time, right?
time.
So with
Yep.
NFTs, because it's recorded on the blockchain and it's governed by what we call a smart contract,
Yep.
it tells what happens during a transaction. All of my art is encoded with a royalties clause. I get 2% or between 2 and 6% of every time that art piece sells. I know where it went. I know who's got it, whose wallet it's in, and I get a royalty every time it changes hands.
I love this. And you don't have to sue people like people who steal
No, it
photographic
happens
images.
automatically. It's part of
Yeah,
the
I
transaction.
love
You
that.
can't do the transaction without it. So
Cool.
now to get back to what your question was with physical objects, right here where I live in Columbia, South Carolina, we had the first use case of NFTs being
Mm-hmm.
attached to tangible physical real estate. So
Mm-hmm.
somebody attached their house to the blockchain by having the contract for their house point to a smart contract, which then said this house can't be sold without the smart contract as part of the deal. So they tokenized the deed to their house so that they could get royalties in perpetuity forever. 2% over for infinity
Yes.
every time that house
As long as
sells.
they own the
Now,
house.
because it's on, no, not as long as
No,
they
as
sell
long as
the
when they
house,
sell the
because
house.
they sell it once, they get the profit from the house. The next time that the new owner sells the house, there's another 2% that goes back to the original owner that put it on the blockchain. So there's physical objects being attached to the blockchain through the use of smart contracts and tokens all the time. And there's new use cases coming up every single day because they're innovating so fast. And to take that all back to social media and why it's going to die, because individuals by themselves and working in small groups are so much more innovative than these large behemoth companies could ever hope to be. Things are changing and they're changing fast. And we've decided we don't like the way social media is. And so there's a new way of doing things in communities and building up people up and glorifying individual creators and rewarding them with this blockchain stuff.
Man, you know what? We've been talking over 50 minutes, Talon. It has gone just like that. This is fascinating. I tell you. So just to kind of summarize some of what we talked about, and then we'll wrap. And I have no doubt you and I could talk about this for hours and hours, but everybody else would be. Could you all shut up? Our minds are already blown. So just to summarize, you all right, protect your digital wallet and digital assets, okay? Especially in your business, protect it. Number two, be relational, not transactional, right? Number three, own your community. Have it on a platform that you own rather than these huge companies, so that you have control over it. You can establish the ground rules. You can create the ambiance and the environment that you want. Number four, experiential marketing. Experiential marketing. Put your prospects in your gallery. Maybe it's not an art gallery, but it's a
No,
different kind
you've
of
got
gallery.
you've got movie like theaters for people who create video content. I build it out like a movie theater. You can go sit down
Wow.
and watch a movie in the theater. It's pretty awesome. Ask
Oh my
Daniel
God.
Andrews. Daniel Andrews has a theater that's attached to my hub.
I love that. And so you could send people into your own private theater and they can watch all your videos. I don't know if I would want that, but yeah. So there are just tons of things you can do, but also think you all about how could you showcase. Truthfully, you can have your three-dimensional store, e-commerce
Mhm.
store, and showcase everything that you offer, whether it's a product or a service. You could showcase that there. It doesn't have to be art, and let people go into there, and you could have assets that they could purchase there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we see big brands jumping on this. Porsche did a big one. McLaren is another luxury car brand that's jumping into this. Um, give me just a second.
That's
So
wild. So you can
yeah,
test drive your virtual car.
yeah. I mean they've got a whole thing. They're doing. They did an NFT collection, like a token collection with marketing type stuff to raise awareness of their brand and things like that. I mean, there's just all kind of stuff that's happening nonstop.
Wow. So, Talon, when you work with people, you can actually share with them the options that you would recommend for them based on their business.
Yeah, and I've got, like I said, I've got the class that I do to kind of bring people into the knowledge of this stuff to begin with, and
Mhm.
then from there, when the light bulbs start to come on, like I think they have for a lot of people through this talk, because we've
Yeah.
covered a whole lot of it, and light bulbs start to come on, and they think, man, this would be really great for this unique situation in my business, and then I
Right.
can consult with people from there to build out whatever solution that we come up
I
with.
love that. So, what's your website? Let me pop that in the comments.
Yeah, my website right now is the Underground Trading. It's undergroundtradingcompany.com.
Underground Trading Company.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Tradingcompany.com, not the underground, but
No, it's just
underground. Okay.
undergroundtradingcompany.com.
Wonderful. And you've mentioned this class several times. When do you do this? Do you run this every few months?
Yeah, every few weeks we start a new class. I've got the next one starting in 2 weeks on June 14th. And if
Okay.
you connect with me on LinkedIn, which I'm sure we'll be able to tag here in the comments or whatever, so yeah, the best way to connect with me on that is either through my email address or the website, or my LinkedIn, and we can talk. Let's set up a time where we can just grab
I
a
love
few
it.
minutes, and
And
I'll
will
tell you
you
about it.
give them like a special little, just a little discount or something where they could bring a friend or I don't know what, something where
Absolutely. Yeah,
our
we'll
viewers,
come up with a deal to offer for your listeners.
that
Fantastic.
would be fabulous. All right. And will that be evergreen? I've got to ask that.
Sure, why not?
Or a version of it. You can
We'll
always
give you a
go
discount
back to
code.
it. Yeah, but you'll get a special discount code for being a bold, badass business owner, watcher. And see, here's the thing that I'm clear about, everybody who's watching, and I hope your mind is just going, woo, like mine is right now. These are things that are just so fascinating to me. I was just reading. Oh, wait, I have to say this, Helen. I was just reading this thing by a woman who did a TEDx talk on alternate universes. And
Yeah,
and
fun
and
time.
and here's the thing. She found her beloved by doing work
Mm.
to be in that alternate universe.
Ah, I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, she talks all about it, and I can't remember her name now, but it was
Mm.
pretty interesting. It came through Derek Rydell, who does a lot of interesting stuff. She's in the she's talking about it in terms of quantum physics, but
Yeah,
think about it.
I've
We
heard
don't
all the theories. Yeah, and I'm
Yeah, I mean,
familiar with
we're only one
quantum theory.
galaxy here, right? You all, this is like the Milky Way is just one of many. Why not?
Yeah,
Why
and
not?
I believe it's possible. And I don't know that anybody has devised any kind of technology or method to get any knowledge of
Well,
other universes.
okay,
But
but here's where the part of me that's creative thinks. Have you ever had that experience? Okay, let's get a little out there. Have you ever had that experience where you go to sleep and you really go to a different place and
mm,
I don't want to even call it deja vu, but it's like this, you're in this other life.
yeah, I stopped doing drugs a long time ago. So
Oh, come on. I don't do drugs.
no, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't do
No,
drugs.
I don't know. I mean,
The
I'm an
only drug I do is
agnostic.
Prosecco.
I'm
But
an
seriously,
agnostic when it comes to
well,
alternate
you don't
universes.
you can be agnostic, and this is
Oh yeah,
physics. This
sure.
ain't this is physics. This is
That's
you
what I mean. I'm not. I have no idea. No doubt that it's possible that
yeah.
this is the way things are in reality, right? I just don't know that we can experience it if it does.
Well, you know what? I
I'm
just
skeptical.
I get you. I get you. And I keep thinking about Einstein and the wave. Do you remember those experiments with the waves? How
Hmm.
the observer would impact the movement of the wave?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is fascinating
That's
stuff when
some
you talk about physics.
crazy,
And the
crazy
deeper
stuff.
you go, the crazier it is. But
And
all
we
I
are
know is
matter.
I'm building alternate universes. That's all I know.
Really.
I build alternate universes
But
for a living.
what if, oh, let me say to you, what if you are just building universes that already exist out there
I
and
know, right?
you're just the one like picking them up?
Elon
Hmm.
Musk has a whole conversation about how he believes that we are just not pawns, but like we're just individuals in some alien simulation. So
Oh
just like
boy,
I'm building these
that's creepy.
universes, where these little avatars run around. What if we're just the avatars for some bigger beings?
Well, it's certainly possible because we're only, truthfully, we're the tiny. What did they say? How many angels can dance on the head of a pin? Like, we're such a microcosm of this
Yeah.
macrocosm that's beyond anything that we could ever see. And I always was fascinated by theoretical physics, even though I made a C in physics in college. But I
Yeah.
was fascinated
I'm
by
a math boy
theoretical
still.
physics. I like the concepts because for
Yes.
me, spirituality and theoretical physics, you could actually bring the two together because there's this point where there is this unknown, this
Yeah.
unseen, but we know it's there.
Right.
And they keep coming up with more and more subatomic particles, sub atomic particles. I don't even know what
Hmm.
the latest ones are. They keep coming up with new names for it, but it's like those Russian dolls that you take the thing off and it just keeps going. There's another one, and then there's another one, and there's another one. It's just like there are so many layers here, and you have just given us such a way to think about new layers in our businesses
Yeah.
that we and new realms, new realities, new universes, and a global reach that is possible now because we're not tied down to a storefront where somebody walks in your door.
Sure.
They can walk in the door from wherever they are as long as they've got a computer or some kind of device that will get them into that virtual reality. Well, Talon, final words of wisdom for you for these bold badass business owners. I have the most annoying gnat here. It's like driving me crazy through the whole interview. The gnat is like excited by what you're saying.
It is exciting stuff, and like I said, there are two things that are coming very very soon. You'll see it, and now you'll recognize it when you see it. Number one, the Amazon NFT market. If it's not out yet, it will be soon. And the second thing is Apple is coming out with their new augmented reality glasses. And I really firmly believe that when Apple gets involved in something, it's going to be big and it could be a game changer. So when that happens, and you see people using these Apple augmented reality glasses, things are real. I mean, I really think
Wow,
we're going to see a mass adoption happening very soon with all this stuff.
that's wild. So these will be actual glasses that you put on.
Yeah, and nobody really knows. I think they're keeping it under wraps what it's going to look like.
Wow.
But like I said, it's probably going to be really, really cool because Apple's doing it, and it's
Yeah.
probably going to be something that'll catch on quick. And it's like an iPhone moment all over again.
Wow. So we get to stay tuned. And for those of you who are, in your late 40s and 50s, you remember like me when those first moments when you said what to email and
Yeah,
what to the internet. I mean, when I was in graduate school, we had card freaking catalogs,
yeah,
and things were only starting to go digital. And luckily, the first place I taught, we all got an IBM ThinkPad, and I was able to do a lot of stuff there, like listservs way early on when people to be an early adopter of certain things. But be an early adopter, you all. And be an early adopter, be aware that these possibilities are there. And you can
yeah.
actually get royalties, hello, by
Right.
tying your assets, your online assets to virtual real estate and maybe even in person. I don't know how to say it, but tangible, physical.
Yeah, we use the word IRL in real life.
Okay. In real life, real
Yeah.
estate. Wow. Talon, this is so interesting. I really encourage everybody to go to undergroundtradingcompany.com and reach out to Talon and look at what's the name of the class that you teach?
It's technology boosters.
Technology boosters. Look at the class which he runs every now and again, and regularly, and also ask for your VIP discount. Reach out to him because he'll have a VIP discount for you
Yeah, we'll
bold
do ten
badass
percent off. We'll do 10% off of the class. The class runs
beautiful.
$500, so you get $50 off.
That's
Uh,
wonderful. So
yeah,
10% off, that's great. And thank you for that. That's wonderful. And
sure.
everyone, I'm going to ask you because damn it, I forgot to do it at the beginning again. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, people, because I am having some big ass guests. Let me tell you, in the last 2 days, I have landed some people who are way up there in terms of their reach. And I'm not saying you aren't talented, because I know you are, but I'm talking about people that are, whoa, hello. And I'm very excited about that. Like those dream guests you want to have. And they're going to be coming on, you all.
I'm
And
not a
you
dreamy cast. What?
the dream guests, not virtual, but the dream guests, the ones that you're like, if I interview this person, then I can be hit by a bus because I've done everything I ever wanted to do in my life. No,
Right.
but seriously, you all, now, all the people on here are amazing, but you're going to miss out if you do not tune in at 4:30. And like and share this, y'all. Don't be an internet voyeur. You know what? The more you engage with this, the more you share it, this incredible information, you're doing somebody else a favor. You're being a thought leader by sharing this. You're being a giver by sharing it. And it's imperative that people know about what we've talked about today. That's the way I see it. So, Talon, what's your last final thing? Like, if you could sum it all up into one word. I know I asked you a version of that earlier, but what would you want to leave people with?
Things are changing, and if you want to get on the boat, get on the boat. Don't be left standing at the pier when everybody else is sailing away and into the future. The future is now. Take the steps to get on the boat. Learn what these terms and technologies are. Know what's coming, and be able to use the ones that make sense for your business.
Because you're going to stand out, y'all. You do that, you're going to stand out. And as they say, the times they are a changing. So, Talon, I just want to say thank you. You came on here impromptu. You are obviously a deep expert in this material, and I just really appreciate you sharing with all of us here on Bold Badass Business Owners. And I have the feeling that we're going to have you back. We're going to have you
Awesome.
back in the future. So anyway,
Fantastic.
and you artists, damn it, no more starving artist syndrome. You
No,
don't even have to have
never.
paint, y'all. You don't have to have paint anymore. You don't have to have those canvases that are expensive. Would you contact Talon and find out about the software you need, etc., so you can start doing some digital artwork and getting some royalties? And by the way, you could do that in addition to what you're already doing
Yeah,
if you really
absolutely.
love that process of using your hands for stuff. Well, thank you, Talon. Everybody have an amazing weekend. Share and like this. Subscribe to my YouTube channel or you are messed up and I'm going to get you. And thanks again. Bye,
Thanks,
y'all.
Dr. Bonzo. I appreciate you.